when you think about all the content that we've been hearing at Adweek thus far, when you think about sort of commerce media and just the tremendous growth that the industry is seeing overall, I mean, it's just been really phenomenal to see the overall growth. I think eMarketer had a stat recently that the overall America's commerce is going to grow to 118 billion by 2029, which is fantastic and phenomenal as you think about what the growth is overall in terms of what that means for advertisers and the industry as a whole. What that means for Uber is, as we think about growth overall, traditionally people think about our business as a food delivery business and a rides business, but we're seeing a lot of growth in other key categories such as retail and grocery, and that is continuing to fuel our growth overall. And what is really great about Uber advertising is that our platform actually sits at the intersection of both our Eats business and our rides business. And so the thing that I always think about is I joined Uber advertising 3 years ago as we were building this business from the ground up, and we just passed a 1.5 billion annual run rate as of Q2 of 2025 and growing at 60% year on year. And I think that really speaks to the fact that what we are building here is really harnessing the scale of Uber as a whole with the ability to reach and match advertisers' brand objectives. And we're seeing that play out in the growth of the business as a whole.
Well, turning to how that's playing out in some of the new products that Uber advertising has, you recently unveiled JourneyTV Presents. Can you tell us a bit about that and how is that meaningful for advertisers?
Yeah, so before I even talk about JourneyTV Presents, I'll just sort of give a landscape of what JourneyTV is. So I'm assuming you've taken an Uber at some point in your life. I hope so. And so if you think about what that experience has been in the past, right, you get into the Uber, you have a conversation with your Uber driver, and typically it's a very leaned in engaged experience. We're thinking about ways to continue to drive that engagement by placing screens into the backseat of Uber cars. And so the partnership of T-Mobile, where we're leveraging their hardware and our software, you now walk into an Uber and you have this lovely experience where the screen is greeting you and it says, "Hi Jess, you are going from JFK to World Trade Center," which is where our office is. It gives you a little information about the driver, why they're driving, and it automatically is giving those touch points and those connection points. And so JourneyTV Presents is sort of our next iteration of what that experience is like. And so we've launched with several different partners across lifestyle, sports, weather, and really thinking about how we elevate that experience and continue to create engagement across the board. So we've launched with a bunch of different partners, including Cars.com, Minute Media, Matador Network, the Weather Channel, and Time Out. And so if you think about what that experience is now going to be, you are in, let's use my experience. I flew into Newark Airport, headed to World Trade Center. That's an hour plus ride, right? And so now we're thinking about how we create entertainment and content that's going to keep people engaged. And what that means from an advertising perspective is we have all these different data signals that are going to now sit alongside some of our content. And so the experience for our riders is really going to be this engaging experience, and thinking about how we're changing the perception of the backseat. As a fellow New Yorker and a native New Yorker, the experience has been less than desirable in the past, and really thinking about how do we create that engagement. And I think the benefit to our brands is, as we think about the Uber advertising experience, your content is sitting next to really engaging content, and we see that in the metrics, only 1% to 2% of riders actually turn off or mute the experience itself. So it's a highly engaging experience, and these new partners are really going to help us continue to raise the bar and elevate that engagement.
So as you continue to raise the bar on engagement, wanted to also turn to another product launch. In June, Uber launched the in-house creative studio. What was the impetus behind that?
Yeah, so we thought a lot about what the surprise and delight experience can be, right? Again, we sit at this intersection of Uber advertising across both our Eats business and our Rides business. And we really thought about our consumer. And I think that is really important because everything we do is with our consumers at the heart of our decisions as a business as a whole, but then even more so from an advertising perspective. And so what we learned about our consumers was that they wanted to experience the products. They didn't want to just see them on a screen or see them on their phone screen. They wanted to actually feel and touch and experience. And so we got really creative and we launched with several different partners. So last holiday season, we launched with Diageo and was able to deliver carolers. For the Swifties out there, we launched a partnership with CoverGirl and Ulta where users going to the concert were surprised and delighted with wrapped shuttles, friendship bracelets, and products in that experience as well. And so same thing with La Mer with F1. You experience this awesome surprise and delight of being delivered a high-end Uber and then having La Mer products in the backseat. And so thinking about ways that we can bring those moments to life for our consumers to continue to surprise and delight them. And the benefit to our brands and our advertisers is the impact that they're seeing aligned to their business objectives.
So Jess, the pace of change is so breakneck, it's hard to even ask where you see things going next week, let alone next 6 months, a year from now. But what are your expectations for the continued development of commerce media and Uber advertising within that?
I mean, I think I go back to how we started the conversation, right? There's tremendous growth and future potential within this space as a whole. And I think what's interesting about Uber is we sit at sort of the intersection of both commerce media and connected media. And so how do we continue to elevate the bar, always with our consumers at the heart of all of our decisions? And so continuing to think about how we engage and surprise and delight, because if we are able to continue to drive engagement, there was a lot of conversations at Adweek this week around, it's not about impressions, it's not about clicks, it's really about engagement. And how do we continue to engage with those consumers? Then we'll continue to see growth across all parts of our business, including rides, eats, and Uber advertising as a whole.